in Manila, I have had some experience, like very scary experiences, right? Like being pickpocketed or just small time cases. But of course, I was just like extremely scared for my life because, well, Manila isn't safe. It really isn't. And there was this one time that I attended a conference with my boyfriend in Manila, and all of the other attendees in the conference were foreigners, and they didn't really understand just how dangerous Manila was. And they insisted, so they asked me, like, okay, so which is a good restaurant to eat around here? And so I brought them to that restaurant that I thought was good. And then, it was a lovely dinner. And then on the way back, because they realized that it wasn't so far going to the restaurant, we took the taxi because I insisted. And then on the way back, I said, okay, let's take the taxi back. And then they said, well, it was very close. Now that we know the way, why don't we just walk back to the hotel? And that was a terrible idea. That was a terrible, terrible idea. I told them, well, that's not really a good idea because Manila isn't safe. But being foreigners that they are, they insisted. They said, oh, come on, we're big people, we can defend ourselves. And I'm just thinking, maybe you can defend yourself, but I can't defend myself. Because well, they were with their wives too, so it was the whole group was like a group of couples, right? And then they said, well, you don't have to worry because your boyfriend's gonna defend you too. And I'm just thinking that maybe so, but I don't, like, on the first place, I don't want to put myself or put any of you in like a dangerous situation, right? It was just bad. So they insisted, and I remember I was already getting mad at my boyfriend because I was the one insisting on him. Like, if they want to walk back to the hotel, let them walk back. We should take the taxi. I don't want to walk because, I mean, I don't mind walking. The walking part is okay. But I don't want to walk because it's in the middle of the night in Manila. And I just knew that it was going to be a bad idea. And it was. They insisted on walking, and back then, he also didn't really know just how dangerous Manila was, so he decided that we were gonna walk with them. And as soon as we stepped out of that restaurant, like, there were not only thieves, right? But Malate area, Mr. Kishita? The Malate area in Manila.
I don't know.
Well, it's like how should I say it? Like almost like a red light district. So
the right to district.
Red light district, yeah.
The right to district, okay.
Yeah, so of course you get out of the restaurant, and there's this like a huge group, maybe like 10-member people in a group of like white men, right? Like they easily stand out. They're really tall, they're white. So all of the red light establishments in the area were looking at us, and I was just so terrified. And it didn't take long they had their wives with them, but it didn't take long for people to start making moves, and it was just so bad. And then there was this kid, there was this child, maybe, I don't know, like 7 years old, who actually went to one of my boyfriend's friend and like took his arm like this, and this just like literally grabbed onto him. And then she kept asking for money, and then of course you shouldn't give them money, right? Because if you give them money, then they're just gonna keep on insisting on getting more money, and that would be a bad idea. And she kept on asking money, and then of course we didn't give her money, and she just kept on grabbing on. Like I was trying to take her away, like at least I was trying to get her hands away, but like she was really like hitting me on the hand as I was trying to get her away. And then she started shouting at me, and she said some really, really mean things. She said some mean things, and I remember it was so bad. I mean, I understood that the others didn't really understand what she was saying because she was saying it in Tagalog, but she was saying so many mean things. There was only one Filipino, a friend of mine as well, in that group. And when he heard what she was saying, I was completely, I could say devastated, Mr. Kashita, because I felt so bad. I felt bad that we were in that situation, and I felt bad that that young child was saying so many obscene things at such a young age. Oh, I can't. Mm. It's no good, like remembering it actually. I felt pity, I guess. I also felt bad that the child was, saying so many obscene things, was already like mentally corrupted at such a young age. So that friend of mine just tried to stop me and just said like, just understand that she's also in this difficult situation, and she's only saying these things because she doesn't really understand what they mean. And after that, I just started crying. I started crying, and then when we got back to the hotel, I got mad at my boyfriend. I got really, really mad at him for agreeing to, just walk back to the hotel. I was not comfortable the whole way back because I could see people looking at us, and I never felt safe. Like when people, I understand. Like I don't want to judge people, but that look. Like having lived in Manila for like 2 years, I know that look when people are like looking at you and then trying to assess if you would be a good target or not. And it was just like one of the worst experiences I've had. The walk back to the hotel was probably like 15 minutes, but the whole 15 minutes I was just terrified. And for me too, like having lived in Manila for 2 years, I know the dangers of it. And I'm not just talking about the dangers of thieves, of robbers. I'm talking about like a whole bunch of things. I'm talking about, like the red light district, like women approaching you and offering their services. That's not a comfortable situation. But because they're foreigners and they thought that it would just be adventurous to see the city. I don't know. I just remembered getting back to the hotel and getting mad at my boyfriend so bad because he agreed to walk back on the way to the hotel. And I remember that after that after that we did go back to the same restaurant, the following days, because it was a good restaurant. But when the others insist that they would walk back, then we finally agreed that we were just gonna take the taxi. We're just gonna take the taxi back, even if the others wanted to walk back, because that was just a terrible experience for me. I remember going back to the hotel, and as soon as I closed the door, I just cried. I cried so hard. Well, I cried because I was terrified of the situation the whole time, and I cried because what that little girl told me was really, really hurtful. She really said some mean things. But I don't know, that's just Manila, I guess. To me, it's like development gone wrong. They're supposed to develop the area, so they put up many of these, like establishments, right? Like really, really luxurious buildings sometimes, but you can see the extreme wealth and equality of the people living in Manila. Just outside, what's the name? Forbes Park. Forbes Park is like the Beverly Hills of Manila. It's the place where all of these rich people live. Just outside of Forbes Park, you could see like a squatters area, like an illegal settlement for people who don't have enough money. And what a sight! Like you've got all of these mansions on one side, and then all of these illegal settlers on the other side. It's very similar to the favela in Brazil. The other side is like full of rich and opulent houses, and then the other side are just, well, illegally illegally inhabited area.